Hello, this is week 1 journal entry, The 7 Dimensions of Health. The 7 dimensions of health are spirituality, social, physical, emotional, intellectual, occupational, and environmental. When these aspects of life are good and in balance is when optimal well-being is a reality. Sometimes we are not aware of how important these things are to our health. Other times we are very aware. For instance, if we are unhappy with our job, it affects our entire life, causes a lot of stress, and this becomes detrimental to our health over time. Spirituality is a person's belief system, their value and their morals. It is their ethical stance on life and their personal behavior, or in other words, what they feel is right or wrong. It is important to have a strong social network through friends and families. This also includes networks such as groups or one-on-one counseling. These networks provide support. It's where trust is built. It is where you go in need, with whom you can be yourself. People who live in isolation or alone tend to become non-social and find it difficult to interact with people, and that is unhealthy to a person's soul. We all need some form of interaction. We all need human touch. It is how we shape ourselves and how we build trust. And let's face it, friends are fun. They provide outlets. We laugh together, we cry together, and we live together. So we support each other and should be there for each other to enjoy life, to grieve together, or whatever support is needed. Physical health is important because we need healthy bodies to get ourselves around and do the things we need to do. Physical health includes taking care of our bodies by making healthy choices with nutrition, activity, and personal hygiene. These also includes rest as well. We only get one body, so it is important to take care of it and be happy with it because it does amazing things for us, and it is our responsibility to treat it with the utmost of care. Emotional health is another aspect that is extremely important to our well-being. All of the dimensions seem to wrap up into our emotional health. If our emotional health is not well, the rest of these aspects fall behind greatly. I think this very well be the most important dimension of health, even over physical, because we can eat healthy, exercise, have friends, go to church, but if we have chronic emotional stress, our bodies will get ill and break down, as well as our minds. Stress affects our relationships. Stress is the biggest killer of all well-being and breaks down our motivation for living. Stress affects our emotional well-being so much, it is hard to do anything at all, physically or cognitively, and this can lead to some very serious issues, including death. It is imperative to take time out to relieve stress on a daily basis. There are things that we can do, thankfully, and people we can talk to in order to get help and get our emotional health back on track. Intellectual health. We should always be striving to learn new things. Getting an education is important to getting higher skilled jobs. Doing word puzzles and mind activities are said to keep our minds healthy as we go, or as we age. Occupational. There are a lot of people unhappy with their jobs. This is a scary thought, as people who do not like their jobs will most likely not do a good job, and this could have some harmful effects on everyone else. It is important to get some fulfillment out of what you do in life, and purpose. It should have meaning for you and for others, or be educational. There is very high unemployment in this nation. Not having employment is extremely stressful, and living in poverty causes all sorts of health issues due to stress and lack of proper nutrition or proper health care. Find your niche, whatever it may be, and go with it. Happy employees are more productive. Finally, we have the environmental health. In my opinion, this is probably the least one that people are aware of, but could make the most noticeable impact if everyone did. The one that is not so apparent, though, is the air we breathe inside of our homes and where we work. I suffer with constant rhinitis because of mildew and dust. It is extremely dry where I live. In the city where I live, no one feels safe anymore walking at night. This town is beautiful. It has beautiful parks and walking paths, and it's a shame that we feel unsafe. Crime and theft is high in my area. And in my house, it is loud. There is loud music, and TV is on the 24/7, which affects my environment. So I have to wear headphones, and consequently, since everything is loud, then everybody's talking louder even. So Anyway, I wanted to throw this in before I go on with my results, because one thing that really did surprise me was that there is an International Forgiveness Institute. Forgiveness is huge. Holding grudges and holding in hate really does affect our health in a surmountable way. From the assessment, my score came out to 73.6. I was so close to reaching the good range, but I fell short, and I was surprised to find out that I was still in the average range. Before the assessment, I felt pretty confident that I am a mindful person about the choices I make regarding my lifestyle and nutrition and health, but I see I have a way to go with improvement in certain aspects of my health dimensions, especially in regards to my physical, social, and stress control, as these were my lowest score. I knew my physical assessment would be lower because I do have physical limitations. I have been in 2 car accidents, one in 1989 and the other in 2011, and both of them caused severe damage in my neck and upper back. My main limitation is lifting, but I also do not want to do things like jumping, running, high-impact sports, or aerobics. For a long time, this had an effect on my emotional state, as I could not do the things I used to be able to do or want to do, and this also affects my occupational aspect because I cannot do certain work. In fact, I was accepted to the Boulder College of Massage Therapy, but 2 doctors urged me not to get in that field because of the upper body strength issues I have. So this is a good example of how one dimension of health affects all the other dimensions. Imagine not being able to pick up your child who wants you to hold them. We did that a lot sitting down. So my social score was even worse, and there is a reason for that. In the past few years, I've lost many of my very close people. My mother, though, was my best friend, and she passed away 3 years ago. I also had to change a lot of the people in my life. So I had some blows in my network. Another problem is my significant other, and we are no longer really partners, and consequently some of my friendships lost along the way over that. So, but I am rekindling some old ones. For example, the therapist that I interviewed. It is nice to have her in my life again, as she is an incredible person, and that is what I want to be around and have as my friends. So finally we come to the stress control part. This is the area I thought I had a better handle on. I have been working so hard on it as a personal goal. I know the ravaging health effects of stress on the mind and the body and the soul. I have had a prolonged period of chronic stress as well. Seems to be now for about 9 years. I think there may be something in that old adage about every 7 years your life changes. The 7-year itch or something. I think there's a lot to that one. But anyway, for the past few years, I have incorporated meditation and guided sessions into my daily routine. I walk everywhere. I started Tai Chi, and I always do stretches, write journals and lists. I keep my dates on calendars. I take care of my plants and garden. I sing and play instruments. This summer, I took up charcoal sketching, which I really enjoy, and I also started making jewelry, and this has been a means of my income lately. I decided to make and sell jewelry and sell my belongings on Amazon. Doesn't bring in much, but it does pay the rent and gets a little food, and hits that occupational dimension on where you should like what you're doing as your job. I get great enjoyment out of making jewelry, and it makes people happy, and that makes me happy. I know that furthering my education will get me the occupational and the intellectual dimensions, and all the aspects of health will grow when I get my degree and get out there and do what I want. Because of the prolonged stress, I need to work even harder in this area. My strongest attributes on the assessment were nutritional, spiritual, and environmental. But I have learned that wellness is about finding balance and peace within yourself and your surroundings so that you may be a good example and have good health and a good life. Wellness is all the dimensions put together, and one should strive to be the healthiest as possible in all of the dimensions for optimum fulfillment in life and for optimum health. This assessment is a reflection on how one needs to lead their life. It's a guide to show where one is at and where they need to improve for ultimate health and wellness, and for health of the body, the mind, and the soul. One needs to strive to score high in all the dimensions of wellness.